Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Yo, wow. How's it going, Pacer?
All the way from Mexico, Jamil has returned. Guys, he wasn't here last week, but Jamil, the prodigal son of Wholesale Hotline, has returned. How you doing, brother?
I'm fantastic, bro. How you been?
I'm good, man. I look forward to the holidays, and the reason being is because I get to work harder than I normally do, where I don't have any meetings. Nobody wants to meet with me. The only person that really even replies to me during the holidays is Carly, who helps us run Wholesale Hotline and the Facebook group. She's constantly texting me back, but I've been catching up with work, man, getting things excited and getting ready to launch things into the new year. You and I just got off a 1-hour partnership meeting with one of our joint partners, and a lot of really cool, fun things looking forward in 2023. I'm excited.
Yeah, it looks incredible. You know, we have not been letting our foot off the gas. I did take a few days off with the family, although I was sick through the entire time, which isn't fun being on vacation and being sick, but oh well, rest is good. Rest is good. But wow, bro, episode 150. Can you believe we've done 150 episodes of Wholesale Hotline? How crazy is that?
What's crazy is that this is the last Wholesale Hotline of the year. Next week will be January 2nd. Also, I don't know if you know this, but I canceled Sunday service. I'm never going to do another Sunday service ever again.
I didn't know that.
I'm rebranding Sunday service to be called Get Creative. Same time, same place. A little bit different format. What I want to do is start highlighting other people doing deals a little bit more frequently and bringing them into the show. And then also I'm going to start running a monthly contest. And the contest was in 2022, I gave away all my YouTube income to half of the year was to my team, just as bonuses here and there. And then the other half of the year, I gave it away to YouTube subscribers. But this coming year, what I want to do is utilize Get Creative podcast on Sundays as a way to highlight people doing creative deals, whether it's a business deal, buying a golf cart on creative finance, buying camera equipment on creative finance, a house on creative finance. I don't care what it is. Highlight people and then have the audience vote on first place, second place, and third place, and give away my YouTube income to those individual people through the Get Creative live podcast. Should be a lot of fun.
I think that's fantastic. Incentivizing people to get creative. What a creative idea. I love it.
Yes. We also have a third guest for the show today.
Pardon me?
We have a third guest for the show,
yes,
or our first guest, third member of the day.
I see him in the background there. There he is. What up?
What is going on, fellas?
Mr. Dan Quijano, how you doing, brother? Jamil, can you tell that Quijano goes wild on the holidays?
Yeah, it looks like he had a Christmas bomb explode in his office there. It looks great.
I love it. Well, guys, we're going to get into Q&A today. Okay, we love the Q&A. What we're going to do today is we're actually going to give you guys the link to come behind the stage. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a link in the side chat, and this link is going to let you guys come into the side chat. Don't click this link just so you can come and hang out in the backstage, because I'll kick your ass out. Okay, I want you to come in. I want to make sure that you have a question. You have good audio and good video, at least a flashlight so we can see your face.
Yes.
And I want to see you guys asking questions. We want to do this live. I'll answer the first question of the
Yes.
night. Tammy says, where are my Atlanta buyers? Right here. I am an Atlanta buyer. I buy in Atlanta. I think
Different thing, babe.
I bought more in Atlanta this year than I did anywhere else, surprisingly. Keanu, I'm taking you off the screen until you get your shiz figured out. Bye. So I am your buyer in Atlanta. Also, I was texting the Atlanta Keegley franchise, one of them. There's a couple of them. And I'm currently working on a 392 unit creative finance multifamily with the Atlanta Keegley franchise.
Yeah, Chris Campbell is a beast out there, Tammy. If you don't have Chris Campbell's information, he is the Keegley franchise. He's also a sub-2 student, mastermind student and partner of Pace and partner of mine. He's an incredible guy, and his team would love to help you. But there are hundreds of Astro and sub-2 family members that are dispoing deals in Atlanta. So the best place, Tammy, for you to find that or those individuals will be in the side chat. So make sure that you are connecting with each other, guys, because the motto of Wholesale Hotline is to squad up. Squad up. That's connecting, JVing, forming relationships and bonds, friendships, partnerships, even if it's just accountability, homies. That's what this is all about. It's about connecting and knowing that this business does not take place on an island. This takes place as a community and as a crew.
Love it. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We've got Daniel Quijano. We're going to bring him up here. He fixed it, apparently.
I fixed it. I'm sorry. And all the times I
Ooh,
see
it's
you
sounding
guys bring
crispy
people
now.
up here, and I'm the guy that messes it up, but I think we're okay.
Did Santa Claus bring you a microphone for Christmas or what?
No, well, not yet. I don't know. We still haven't opened up our Christmas gifts. Is that bad?
Well, yeah, that's hard when you have 7 dogs running around eating all your stuff.
That's pretty much what it is. They've eaten all the gifts twice, and so now we're just going to be thankful for the season. Is what we're going to do.
Well, we've got a handful of people behind the stage, so we're going to start answering questions here in a couple of minutes. We've got Adrian Lawson, Rocco, and Shavi, I think is the way that I say her name. Shavi? Kavi. Give me a nod your head, yes or no, if I'm saying it right. Shavi? Got it. Okay, we got some really cool people behind the stage. We're going to get to those people. Guys, in the side chat, on YouTube, whatever YouTube channel you're on, we're streaming to Jamil, we're streaming to Paces, we're streaming to Brent Daniels. We just gave you guys a link. It starts with HTTPS, StreamYard.com with a bunch of funky little numbers. Click on that. That's going to bring you into the side, the back chat, and we'll bring you up on the screen so you can answer. You can ask us a question, and one of us three or all three of us will answer that question for you. So, somebody also asked the question of Chris, who? His name is Chris Campbell. He's amazing. And I would love to give you his email as Adrian Lawson asks his question. Adrian Lawson, how you doing? Welcome to Wholesale Hotline.
Hey, how are you guys doing? I'm glad I'm on.
Amazing,
up, bro?
amazing. What do you got for us today?
Hey, so I have a quick question regarding sub-2. So I'm here in Atlanta, and I contact a lot of people who are in, pre-foreclosure, probate. And the question that always comes up is just trying to convince these people that this is, I guess, not a scam or legit. So my question is, how do I, overcome this?
Love it. So we're talking about credibility, right? So credibility comes from a couple of things. Number one, it comes from rapport. Building actual rapport, letting them know you as a human being and having a lengthier conversation. So obviously you know that. So we're not going to go into that. Number two, it also comes from confidence. And when you don't have confidence and you haven't practiced this enough, you're going to run into a lot of hems and haws and inability to explain the process because you've never done a sub-2 deal. So you can imagine when somebody calls you to sell you Girl Scout cookies, but they've never sold a Girl Scout cookie, you're going to be like, wait, what? I don't get it. You don't sound confident to me, right?
Right.
I imagine when somebody comes up to you, asks you a question, or you get a cold call and somebody doesn't sound confident in the product that they're selling, you're always going to assume that person is inexperienced and trying to get one over on you. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, so the number one problem with sales is that you don't It's not about the thing you're selling. It's about the fact that you are trying to sell yourself, right? You're not selling anything other than selling yourself. And so if you don't have confidence and you haven't role played and you haven't worked with other people to actually get these words out of your mouth multiple times, you are going to sound inexperienced. You are going to sound non-confident, and that's going to become an issue for you. So I can tell you, this is, I'm not trying to sell you on a mentorship at all, but I'm going to tell you what to do and where to go. If you do want a mentorship, this is something that we do every single day. Okay. Most mentorships, I'm not talking about mine or Jamil's, but most mentorships, what they do is they give you a series of stupid ass, lame ass, stupid ass videos.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, here's 6 weeks of videos, pay me $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they might do like a fulfillment call, which means they do like a Q&A once a week for about 3 months or 6 months, and they charge you $10,000 for that. People need way more than that. Mentorships are outdated. I try and tell people I don't run a mentorship. I run a community. What we do, okay, is 8 hours a day, Adrian, 8 hours a day in our mentorship for the rest of your life. You will get role playing for 4 of those hours. And then you will get actual sales training for 4 hours in the evening. And guess who runs that sales training is the gentleman directly underneath me. His name is Mr. Daniel Quijano out of Albuquerque, one of the best salespeople I've ever met in my life. And so what you need is you need to role play and build your confidence before you get out on these phone calls, because I can tell you, if I listen to a phone call you've had with some of these sellers or these brokers or these agents, your confidence level is probably at a 1.
Yeah.
Right. And I would assume, even if you chose the perfect words, I would assume, based on your non-confident approach, I would assume it's also a scam myself. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of that, which sounds like common sense, you need to role play. This is why we tell you guys to squat up. This is why we do sales boot camps. This stuff really does change people's lives. Okay. Really quick answer. This goes for Astro students as well. Jamil has a lot of his leaders doing a lot of this stuff in his mentorship as well. Munif, anybody that knows who Munif is, Munif DMs me, because this is about 2 years ago. And he says, what's different about your mentorship versus another mentorship? And I'm like, let's ask a different question. What is the same? Nothing we do is the same. And he's like, well, can you name one of these things that you do different? And I told him the same thing I just told you. We do a daily dial, right? We call it the daily dial, where somebody on my team runs a role-playing Zoom every single morning for 4 hours, where students role play as the seller, then the buyer, then the seller, and they're constantly interchanging. They're raising money from role playing. They're closing deals from role playing. And I can tell you that role playing with somebody that's your peer is actually more challenging than talking to a real seller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what happened is Munif goes, okay, I'm joining the mentorship for that one reason alone. He joins, goes into his first day on the daily dial, which is our role-playing Zoom. We lost Adrian.
There he is.
Okay, there he is. You're back. So Munif comes in on day 1 of his day in the mentorship, and he says, hey, I want to role play. Okay. And so one of our students acts as the buyer, and he acts as the seller. And within 13 seconds of him getting on that phone call, he hung up a fake phone call because he was so scared of what he was going to say. He hung up literally a fake phone call. And then within a matter of, I think it was 5 months, him and Quijano, who you see on the screen, came in and completely wreaked havoc in the wholesale. What do they call it? The Closers Olympics? Is that what they call it?
Those are Olympics.
You guys wreaked havoc in the Closers Olympics on guys that were the top closers in the whole entire world. I use quotation marks because that's cute. Munif and Quijano came in and wreaked havoc on these guys. So you need role playing. You need to practice this stuff. It's more important than the words that actually come out of your mouth. Okay. Now, with sub 2, now let me give you a third answer to this. You also need to have attorneys. You also need to have people that can vouch for you. You need to have a mentor or other students in a program that have done deals and can show proof that they have closed escrow with Atlanta-based attorneys that have been doing sub 2 and seller finance transactions for over 30 years. Okay. You don't have that resource, right? So if I were you, I would find some of the Atlanta students. Eddie Charger's a really good one to go and find. Eddie Charger, write that one down. EDDY Charger, Eddie Charger, and go find Eddie Charger, collaborate, go hang out with my students, go to their meetups. Jamil and I go to Atlanta probably 4 times a year. Okay. Get connected. Don't be an island.
I actually have a sub two call with someone tomorrow. So I watched the broadcast with Mr. Gray,
Yeah, Abraham Gray. Yeah.
Yep, and I contacted him, and they actually sent me his link for a
Oh, sweet.
a referral. So I have a call tomorrow, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and proceed. So I'm 23, just graduated from college, and so I'm looking to jump straight into it. I've done probably about a dozen wholesale deals or so. I started when I was in college. And so I'm looking to, transition into doing more, sub two deals and actually building, my personal portfolio,
Well,
as I
here's what you should do, Adrian. You should assign your first 3 sub 2 deals to either me or Eddie Charger. How about that?
Yeah. Right.
The piece there that I think becomes the hardest part, especially when we're talking credibility, because I think that happens all the time, whether it be a wholesale conversation, whether it be a sub 2 conversation, is prove it. What examples do you have where I can see a HUD, I can see this actually playing out in a way that is going to be advantageous to myself, advantageous to my seller, and not blow up in all of our faces? And so that's another piece that you gain when you become a part of a community. So, for the gentleman who was just here, becoming a part of the sub 2 community is important because, look, you may not have the proof, you may not have the HUDs, you may not have the deals that have been completed, but there's thousands of your community members who have a train of HUDs, proof, and proof of concept that you can leverage, that you can bring another sub 2 student onto a call with you, and they can show them, look, on this deal on this day, on this deal on this day, on this deal on this day. And that allows you a tremendous amount of credibility because you're showing them settlement statements from credible title companies. You're showing them how the disbursements happened, how the real estate agent was paid a commission, how a seller and a seller was compensated, how all of the details of the transaction took place. Because here's the deal, right? In what we provide as solutions, oftentimes they seem too good to be true. And
Very
because
true.
they seem too good to be true, the hardest part, especially like Pace and I, we're in an investment together that seems too good to be true. We struggle in this investment because until we got into it, we needed to see proof that people were able to invest their money and then pull their money out. And then as soon as we were able to see people pull money out, what was the first thing that Pace and I did? We put money in, right? Because we were actually able to see the pudding. We knew the folks that had done the deal. We knew that this had happened. And so that's a big part of you being able to be credible and you being able to sound like you can actually accomplish what you're talking about, is being able to leverage that scope of proof. And you get that when you become a part of a community, whether that be cash transactions, the way that we do it in the Astro community, or JVs that we do together in our deals, or creative deals that you do, and when you're doing a sub 2 or an owner finance deal. So that's, again, being a part of a community that allows you to gain leverage and gain a greater scope of knowledge and of transaction history is going to be massively important coming into 2023.
So I love what Jamil said. It leads into this question. So for a lot of you guys that are lacking these resources, this is what a good mentor or a good community brings to you. So this is a video I create every single month. At the very beginning of the month, you can see this video is about 15 minutes long. I give this to my students. It goes through recent deals, shows my credibility, shows what I own, but I do it in a very generic fashion so that my students use this. And you can see my bank account actually in the background, houses I just closed on, HUDs, more and more proof. Here's addresses we're closing on. Here's a deal. Here's a big multifamily deal. I went through, showed them a development we're doing. And then looky here, I actually pull up this is probably the most important part. Watch this. I log into my actual bank account. There's my username. You can, if you guys want to see my username on my bank account, look at it. Okay. I log in, I show how much money I have in cash. So when somebody says, hey, I need proof of funds, a good mentor gives a proof of funds to his students. And not only proof of funds, but I log into my actual bank account and I give that video to my students. So for those of you guys that are having a hard time showing credibility because you haven't done a deal, stand next to somebody who has credibility. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be me as a mentor. Get next to my students. Go stand next to the sub 2 students. Go stand next to the astro flipping students and borrow their credibility. That is what we call leverage. That is a great strategy. Okay?
Didn't you give away your actual login password one time, Pace, to somebody who was asking?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he literally gave him the login and the password. The person, did they respond? But they were like, wow, this is, what do you do? Look, I'll say this from this side, right? Because I was a guy who joined a community. When I got into real estate, it's funny how perfect both of your guys' answers were to the question that was just asked, because I've been good at sales for a long time. So when I first got into the industry, I was calling sellers and I was getting verbals all day long, right? Because I could have conversations good, but then it still stopped there. I stalled out because there's more to it than that. And it wasn't until I found a community and I joined that I was able to comfortably know all of the steps. And the reality is, it doesn't matter how long you do this, there's always new questions. I've been in sub 2 for over 2 years now. I'm getting ready to do a transaction on my personal house. And I was still nervous, calling Pace, like, hey, can you ask me a question about this?
He sent me a voice memo. He's like, hey, I got this situation. But here's the cool thing is that I'm still learning. Jamil's still learning. We're all still learning. Real estate's one of these things that for an indefinite amount of time, you will learn forever. And you need to lean on your friends. You need to lean on a community of people that have the answers or are close to the people that have answers. So, Keanu, thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right. So let's bring on a woman on here. We got a lot of dudes on the screen. Let's bring, is it Shavi?
Yeah. However you want to say it is good.
You tell me how
you
you
want to say it, how it's said.
It said Javi, but no one could say it. Yeah.
How are you, Javi? Where are you from?
Good. I actually live in Toronto.
Toronto, Ontario?
Yes. And I'm a sub 2 student. I joined about 6 weeks ago.
Wonderful.
Why haven't you come into my Zooms and hung out with me?
Because I can't do live, because I can't listen on regular speed. I have to listen on like 2x or 3, because otherwise I could kill someone.
I love it.
So yeah, so this is actually my first. I have a question now for you. So I hunted you down to this live.
Love it.
So I joined sub 2 with the focus of multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the whole creative thing. So I just wanted to know how to apply it to multifamily. And I just had a call with Start Virtual, and I have to.
No, that's not me, is it?
Lost her.
Is it Javi?
Is this what Canadian internet's like?
It's slow as molasses. No, it's slow as maple syrup.
It's extremely polite, though.
Javi, you're frozen. If you come back, we'd love to have you come back. Rocco, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing awesome. How you guys doing?
So good. Where are you from? What do you got for us, brother?
So I'm from New York. I'm in the Tampa market right now, and I haven't done a deal yet. My question is, how do I sound credible or professional when on the phone with an agent, and they ask about how many deals I've done so far, how many flips I've done? What do you guys recommend?
That's a Jamil question. I think Keanu and I can add a layer of frosting to whatever Jamil's cake is going to be.
Sorry, your name was Rocco?
Yes.
Rocco, this is a great hang up for a lot of people that are getting started in real estate, and you learn the vernacular, you've understood how to underwrite, and you feel confident in picking up the phone and starting to have a conversation. Then all of a sudden you're getting quizzed by the realtor on the other line, wanting to know how many deals have you done, show me the addresses of the flips that you've worked on, and let me into your underwear drawer. And again, interesting when agents do this, because it's their way of vetting. It's their way of making sure that the person that they're talking to is credible. Now, the key in this answer is honesty, right? I do not ever tell people that it's okay to lie and just create a number and say, "Oh, I've done 500 flips. I've wholesaled or I've purchased 1,000 homes." That's never going to come off right. There's a lie in the energy, and we're not dishonest people. We're honest people. The beautiful thing about being a part of a community, again, is that when you have proximity and you have leverage and you have partners and you have JV partners and associates that you work with, you can actually leverage their experience in your answer. And so if you, for instance, are working in the Tampa market, and if you say, for instance, are using Keegley as your JV partner, or if you're using Keegley or any one of my Astro students to help you disposition or find buy numbers for your deal, you can always say, well, combined, my partners and I have done over X number of transactions. Personally, myself, I've done over 6,000 transactions. Now, that may not be a number that you want to say, because you might not sound like somebody who's done 6,000 transactions. But hey, look, if they needed to get somebody like myself, or they needed to get John Galan, one of my Star Astro students, on the phone, he'd hop on a call with you and say, "Yeah, what do you want to ask? I'm happy to give you the addresses. I'm happy to send you HUDs. I'm happy to walk you through what types of transactions we've done and show you addresses." And so you don't have to answer those questions on the spot. A lot of times what we do when we're asked a question that we don't know the answer to on the spot is the natural inclination for a lot of people is to lie, right? Don't ever do that. What you do instead is you say, "I have partners who I work with, and combined, the number of deals that we've done is quite numerous. And so rather than me just make up a number up, why don't you give me a moment and I'll collect that information for you, and I can send that to you in an email form. But moving on, let's talk about this deal, and I can get you all of the due diligence that you're looking for in a few moments. But I'm really focused on this deal right now."
Okay.
Right. And then all you do after that is you find whoever your partner is, or whoever it is that you're going to be squatting up with in that circumstance or in that situation. And we would happily provide you a list of the addresses that we've accomplished and transacted on, so that if they needed to check it or vet it, by all means, they can do that. But the key here, brother, is never lie, but make sure that you've created enough solid connections with people within the communities, so that when you are checked or when you are asked that question, you can very quickly and easily give that answer and show that proof of your prowess or the fact that your community is serious.
Okay, awesome. That's a great answer, Jamil. Thank you a lot. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Again, let me one more time, please. And this is for anybody listening. Never lie. Never lie. The energy of a lie will always come back and find its way to you. It's not worth it. Your integrity is worth more than anything in the game. And in fact, it's even better if you haven't connected with somebody yet. It's okay to say I'm new. It's okay to say I'm new. There is nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And in the market
calls that I do today, still today, my very best seller calls is when I tell people I'm brand new. What I do for my students a lot of times, I'm sure Quijano is doing this a lot in the sales training, is like, "Hey, my name is Pace Morby. I'm actually brand new to real estate. I noticed X, Y, and Z. But I do have some recent connections with buyers that would buy something like this. This fits their buy box perfectly. And here's what happens when you tell people you're brand new." I don't want to say it. This is Jamil's cake. I don't want to add any frosting to this. Jamil, when you tell people you're brand new, what typically happens? What do they want to do?
They want to help. They want to help you. They're like, "Okay, cool. Let's, so how can I help you today? You're brand new." The other part, Rago, is like right now we're in this beautiful new space of desperation when it comes to real estate agents and people wanting to make sales happen. In fact, the newer you are, the more likely you are to overpay, according to the realtor. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And so It's okay to be new. It's totally okay to be new. It's okay to say to the person, I'm just getting started on my journey here, but I've got access to funds. I've got some key people that I'm working with that are helping me get my deal done. And I'm really just looking for an opportunity so that me and my group here can get a couple of projects moving in the next couple of weeks. What do you have that I can see right now that could make sense for me to bring back to my team? Such a true statement. And when said with conviction, when said with that level of integrity, it's going to be received on the other end with the exact energy and the exact response that you would hope, which is going to be kindness and help.
Yeah.
One thing I would also add to add to this, Rocco, is there's a lot of people in here. Like I've got Andrew Erlinson says, I'm so new. What's Astro? So Astro is Jamil's mentorship / community. Sub 2 is my mentorship / community, and Jamil and I collaborate. In fact, I put a story on my Instagram stories today. Somebody asked me, should I join yours or Jamil's community? I said, join Jamil. I did. I learned from Jamil. I learned from a handful of people, right? But here's what I would write down, Rocco, and anybody else that's brand new. Okay. I would write down and challenge yourself to join a challenge in the next 30 days. Okay. I have a challenge that I do every single month. It's called the same thing. It's called the Elephant Challenge because it's so big and it moves very slowly for people that are brand new. It's called the Elephant Challenge. You can go to that challenge by going to pacegives.com. Pacegives.com. Jamil also, starting about a year ago, started doing a monthly challenge as well. He changed.
I've got one January 3rd to the 5th. It's called the Believe It Challenge.
The Believe It Challenge. So join a challenge, Rocco, and why? Why do we join challenges? Because you need to get around the energy of activity. And what Jamil and I have done is we have found leaders like Mr. Quijano, who you see on this screen. And we have found hundreds of other people in our groups, our communities, that we all lead the people who are not in a paid group. The people that have been in our communities go, all right, well, what's next? And we go, you now need to become leaders, just like we were a leader at one point. You need to become a leader. So what happens is a lot of our students, a lot of our community members are now turning towards the free people, the people that have not paid for mentorship or can't at this time.
Right.
Say, how can we lead you? How can we love on you? How can we show you what we've learned and do deals with each other? Okay. So make sure that you go a challenge for anybody else that's in here that's free. Okay. Sadie says, Jamil, how do I enjoy your challenge? Oh, that's a great way of saying that. I like that.
It's
Sadie, go to jamilsnextevent.com and join Jamil's next event. They're free. On one of my challenges, I don't know if you've had this yet, Jamil, but I get people that go, we're like 2 days into my challenge and people go, you're really not going to sell us anything? I'm like, no, we're not here to sell you anything. We're trying to get our students to do deals with the non-students and lead you guys and JV, joint venture with you guys and lead with value and be a community full of go-givers. So Rocco, I would do the same thing. That's coming up in like 5 days, bro, 6 days.
Yeah.
Jamilsnextevent.com.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
You're
nice
welcome.
to meet you, Rocco.
Javi.
Hi.
She's back.
Sorry. I had some internet issues. Thank you for
Okay, you're in
giving me
Canada.
another
That's what
chance.
happens.
Yeah. I hope this doesn't happen.
So multifamily creative finance.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, I want to hire a virtual assistant to cold call for me. And I'm trying to put together a list, but I'm seeing that the multifamily lists they're not, I can't get a list of 5,000 properties in the area that I'm looking for because there aren't 5,000 properties. And the list is not a motivated seller list. This is just a list of all the multifamily properties in the area. So, and I hear like the KPIs, you need 5,000 to get this, to get that.
Okay, so this is a great question, Javi. I love it. So this is where multifamily and single family are completely opposite. Okay. And when people are asking the question of how do I get into multifamily, I would make you list a couple of things for multifamily. Number one, multifamily is not going to pay you today. Okay. Here's what's funny. I made more money on my single family properties this year than I did on my multifamily properties this year, the ones that I bought this year. And I bought 1,000 more properties in multifamily than I did in single family. Okay. Multifamily, the first thing that you have to understand with multifamily is you don't make money today. Okay. Unless you're assigning those deals. So if you go, hey, I want to do creative finance on multifamily and I want to assign those so I can get paid today, that will be the only way you'll ever make fast money in multifamily. Everything else is about raising capital, changing out management, improving the property management team, improving the property, raising rents. And sometimes that takes 18 to 24 months to do that, to get to a point where you are cash flowing at a heavy basis. So those are a couple of the first things, surface level. The next thing is that there is a dramatically less amount of opportunities in multifamily than there are in single family, because there's a lot less doors in multifamily than there are in single family, right? So if you have a virtual assistant, what I would be doing, because a virtual assistant will make your life so much more efficient. So while you're at your 9-to-5 job, your virtual assistant is calling and setting up appointments for you. I would change the KPIs that you're following in multifamily, first and foremost. The best list to call on for multifamily. Oh, dang it. How we freaking keep losing her. I'll just tell her to go back and listen to this questions or this answer. Sorry guys. She has bad internet connection.
There's cheese curds in her wires.
There's gravy and cheese curds.
Yeah.
So here's the answer to this. Multifamily is phenomenal. Here she is. We'll bring her back up here. Multifamily.
My internet just doesn't like this.
Your internet went poutine.
Yeah, it usually behaves. It just doesn't like this duck thing in the corner. I don't know.
Yeah, we get it. No problem. So here's the thing with multifamily. What I would be doing is you have to understand that most multifamily, you have to understand the demographic of the multifamily owner. Okay. The multifamily owner, typically, I'd say over 80% of multifamily properties are owned by operators and owners who are operating the property themselves with poor management, and they hate being a landlord. What do we call these people? What is that person called?
Tired landlord.
A tired landlord. Okay. The majority of the properties, the multifamilies I bought this year, the bunnies that I talk about all the time that you've got to find, is that they're tired landlords. Okay. They're 55 to 65 years old. So the best list for you to call on. Okay. I'll actually pull this up on, have you seen me pull this up on Privy before?
Well, Privy doesn't have a lot of multifamily. I went through Privy, PropStream,
The
and
thing you have to
Hatchley.
understand is you're not pulling up active. We're pulling up tired landlords. They're active. If you're pulling up a tired landlord list, you're not pulling up active properties.
Right. So I'm not looking even for active. I'm looking for any properties.
No, yes. Privy has thousands of these, thousands.
Okay.
So
I
what I
guess
would be
search for them. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What I would be doing is I'd filter out. Let me pull it up for you. I'll do it real quick.
Thank you.
Okay. This is where Jamila and my business differs. This is where you guys can be successful in multiple different ways in this business. I don't like doing agent outreach. In fact, I hate real estate agents. I shouldn't say that. I love real estate agents that understand the business. 99% of real estate agents don't make more than 30 grand a year, which tells you that they actually don't understand what investors do, or else they would have figured out how to make a lot more money. So when you're doing an agent outreach, which is, in my opinion, not as fun because I don't get to talk to sellers. I get my jollies by talking to sellers. And Jamil has a different model, but my model is going direct to seller. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I use Privy differently than Jamil uses Privy. Okay. Jamil will go into Privy and he'll look at this active stuff and he'll reach out to agents. My team and a lot of my students use that. It's great, but this all comes down to what kind of business you want to operate. So I go multifamily, not single family. And what I go down to is I go to when they owned the property. Okay. I want to know how long they've owned the property, not in the past month. I want to go way, way back. I want to go into a date range, and I will go back into like all the way back to like 20 years ago. Okay. And I want to find all the family properties that have been owned for the last 20 years. I'm looking for anybody that has bought a multifamily in the last 20 to 25 years. I max it. So if you think about it this way, if I make it from date range 2000 to 2010, okay, in that date range, that means those people have owned that property for 20 plus years, all the way down to 10 years. I don't want to call anybody that's only owned the property for 5 to 7 years. They haven't been kicked in the face long enough. Okay. Literally, Javi, Every single multifamily I bought under 250 units this year was a tired landlord that's like, please take this property off my hands. I can't operate this, because most people are not great at running a business. It is absolutely true. You show me a multifamily operator that knows how to run a business, and I'll tell you a liar. Most of them are single mom and pops. Those are the people you're looking for. They don't have an agent. Tired landlords don't have agents. They're not represented. They don't even have their property listed. Okay. So you want to look for any purchase in the last 20 years, 20 years ago up to 10 years ago, and nothing newer than that. Okay. You want to see owners that have owned these properties for over 10 years, and you reach out to them directly. Yes. Jammer says, Pace, have you found all these properties on Privy? Every single one of these except for one. I bought a 30 unit with my students that are actually in here. That was a JV deal they brought to me, but all the other ones I was direct to seller on, and every single one of them was a tired landlord found through Privy, purchased with Creative Finance.
So one more question. So if my list is still going to be only a few hundred properties.
This is why you don't focus on one market. Okay.
Okay. So
you don't focus on one market. That's the next thing with multifamily, because multifamily is so much more sparse.
Yeah.
Do you guys use that word in Canada?
I actually grew up in New York.
Okay, good.
So yeah, you don't have to.
So it's so much more sparse. You have way less sellers in the multifamily space than you do in single family. What I typically tell people is, if you're focusing on multifamily, I would pick 5 markets and call tired landlords in those 5 markets.
Okay.
And then I would remind you, okay, one of the most important things you need to be reminded is the majority, and this is probably the same thing with agent outreach with Jamil, the majority of our deals come from long-term follow-up of 13. So 70% of our deals
13 touches
require 13 touches. So what'll happen is your VA will call and follow up with somebody 5 times, and you'll go, oh man, they're not interested in selling. They're not interested in selling. You get to the 10th time, like, man, I can't believe I'm following up. And then magically, the 13th time you follow up, on average, okay, I had this really great story. I had this lady, we followed up, I don't know how many times. It was a little over 13. It was more than 13. And my team was about to throw the lead away. Okay, this is about 4 years ago. My team was about to throw the lead away. And they call this lady, and she says, yeah, actually, you know what? I would be interested in selling. I go on the appointment. I go close the deals. About 4 years ago when I used to go on appointments. I don't do that anymore, unless it's for a student. I go to a lot of student appointments, but not usually my own companies. And I asked her, I said, so how was my team? How was the whole thing? You know, I'm the owner of the company. She said, well, they followed up with me for a really, really long time. And most of the people stopped following up with me. And I said, well, what changed? What in your life changed? You know what it was? She saw a commercial that morning that reminded her of her granddaughter. And she said, I should be closer to my granddaughter. I could tell you hundreds of stories just like that, where something minor changes in the seller's life, and they decide to call their agent, list the property. They decide, I'm going to pick up that postcard. They decide somebody on Pace's team, next time they call me, they call right at the right time. In fact, the deal I did with Mario, the 43 unit seller finance deal, that was a 4 or 5 month follow-up process. And you know what it took for Mario to sell the property? By the way, I just got a text from Mario saying Merry Christmas. What it was for Mario is that his son's birthday was the day 3 days before I called him. And on his son's birthday, his son said, Mario's wife says, what do you want for your birthday, little Mario Jr.? And he says, I just want my dad back. And what does that mean? What it means is that his father, Mario, the guy I bought the property from, was over at the property almost every weekend. Instead of spending time with his son, he was over there fixing toilets and hanging ceiling fans and scraping popcorn and painting properties and doing all the handyman work instead of actually spending time with his children. So when I called and offered the price that he wanted, it was 3 days after his son said for his birthday, the only thing he wanted was his dad back. So a lot of times you're waiting for circumstances in their life to change. You're waiting for them to feel the pain. You're waiting for them to go, you know what, I do want to explore putting this on the market. And you reach out to them while they're on the market sometimes, you know, and sometimes some of these tired landlord lists that you pull up, you'll find out that they were on the market 6 months ago, and you open up and you go, what were you looking for? What can I give you? And this is where creative finance dominates, is that you can give them far more tax advantages, far more of a price, far more of a return long-term, and a lot less hassle in the process of buying and selling that real estate than anybody else can. You have to call them confidently and follow up with them confidently, knowing that you have literally 10 more reasons to sell to you on creative finance than they ever did with cash. And multifamily, here's the cool thing about multifamily and creative finance. The landlords probably acquired their properties with creative finance. Way more savvy with seller finance and sub two and taking over payments and assumptions and all these things. It is a way more easy process getting a seller on board for multifamily than it is single family. And we dominate in single family. So it just tells you when you get the multifamily sellers, they're super excited about selling to you on creative finance.
What's the time lapse between following up? Like, how long do you wait?
We typically, so in multifamily, it's a little bit longer. In single family, I'm every 2 weeks. Okay. In multifamily, I'm every 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay. Now, so I was thinking, I wasn't sure if this is smart, but I was thinking when I couldn't get a big enough list, like, should I do single family in one market and multifamily in another market, or is that just going to mess up my brain? Should I focus on one? Because there's a certain market that I like for single family and then another market that I like for multifamily. Should I go that route, or is it better to just focus on multifamily, find five?
Here's my opinion about this. And since you're my student, I'll take a little bit of time to answer this. When we're wholesaling, when we're acquiring, when we're flipping, when we're putting things in our portfolio, that's really not what we're doing. In my mind, what we're really doing is building relationships in whatever market we've chosen. Okay. So for me, I do single family and multifamily in every market that I choose to invest in, every single one. And why is that? Well, because a lot of my deals come from referrals from a relationship I built from an agent or a probate attorney that I did 2 years prior on a deal that was a multifamily or a single family or whatever. For me, I do both multifamily and single family in every market that I invest in. Hi, Corbin. Thank you, babe. Appreciate you. So here's the other side to that coin. You have to understand yourself. You are somebody who probably has attention issues, right? You have a hard time paying attention to things that are not moving really fast.
Right.
That's a personality thing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a technical thing. You're not going to read about the perfect advice for you in a book. You actually have to have a conversation with somebody that sees you as who you are. Here's the most important thing in real estate. This is truly the most important thing. Activity and taking action. And somebody like you, outside of what I just told you, taking action, there's no better answer that I could ever give you, because other people, Javi, are going to struggle just with that. And what they will do is they will assume every failure they have is because, well, it's not the perfect market. And I chose single family over multifamily. Javi, you could give me North Dakota and tell me I can only focus on flipping goats, and I would make a mother freaking killing. Because I'm a killer who takes action. It doesn't matter what the things are that you put in the equation, I'm going to kill it. And somebody like you who's an action taker, I could tell you, you have to go focus on the worst market of Alaska where there's only 3 people, and somebody who's an action taker will still make money.
Right.
Okay. The reason why you hear a lot of the generalized advice that comes from myself, Jamil, and Brent of like, go focus on these markets that have the most activity, is because we are hoping that the generalized audience we're speaking to will then listen to us. Somebody who's an action taker like yourself, you don't need to be overly concerned about every little detail, because activity is the most important part of the equation. Okay. So you worrying about single family or multifamily, you're overthinking it. You're already an action taker. Okay. I can tell you what your biggest problem in business is going to be. It's none of this shit. Okay. Besides your horrible internet in Canada, the worst thing you're going to have in your business is you're going to create so much activity in your business. Your biggest problem will be harnessing and organizing your business activities that you go out and create. You will end up being a chaotic nightmare that will need to hire a partner or somebody to JV with that keeps you organized, etc. So Jamil and Keanu, do you guys agree with that? Somebody that usually is like, I can't even sit in a Zoom. I have to listen to it 3x, probably that has the personality that's like, I need an integrator partner to help me out.
Yeah. The other piece there too is when you have that type of personality that really needs a lot of activity, that needs action. Because, you know, like she had mentioned earlier, she doesn't like to listen to things on one speed. She needs to be like 2-3 speed because it has to be coming at her quickly. And I respect it. I do the same thing myself. I can't listen to an audiobook on, you know, single speed. I'm like 3x, and then I can actually start to register. And so I get that. The piece, though, that will become your juggling point will be determining what activity is moving the needle, because there's a lot of different types of activity. And there's some activity that moves the needle, and that will actually get you closer to deals and get you closer to actually making money and creating opportunities. And then there's activity that's going to get you in the weeds, that's going to get you further and further and further strung along on a pole, doing like, you know, spinning around saying, I don't know what the hell is happening right now. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm constantly underwriting. I'm constantly this, I'm constantly that. But I'm not getting to the deal. So be very mindful. Be very, very mindful of looking at the activity and the result of the activity. What did I get when I did this? When I did this chunk of work, what was my result? When I did this chunk of work, what were my results? Did this create more chaos? Did this create more confusion? Or did this create more relationships? Did this create more opportunities? Activity that creates more relationships will move the needle and get you closer to money. Activity that creates more activity and confusion is the stuff you want to cut out. It's very easy to determine the two when you look at the results and you actually honestly share with yourself what those results were.
That's a really great piece of advice. But in the very beginning, first 30 days, you have to shake the bushes. Okay. And you don't know how to filter out. This is why having a mentor hobby is important, and you coming into the Q&As is important, and relying on the community is important. You need to shake the bushes, generate leads. A lead presents a problem. A problem presents the output, right, of the equation that you can then go, wow, this was really good, or this was really bad. I need to stay away from those things. You can't determine that without the activity of the lead. So what you're doing right now, hiring a VA so you can stay with your 9-to-5 job all day long. They set appointments for you in the afternoon. Super genius. If you have the means to do it, that's what you should be doing. That's what I do. That's how I stay out of my business. And well, I got to pull her off. She's been great. But anyway, we've answered that question. That's a good one. Let's jump into another question.
Yes,
Gregory St. Clair, how you doing, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing, gentlemen?
Hey, man.
Really good. What do you got for us tonight?
Astro student here. I just joined earlier this last week, actually.
How are you, bro?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. So I got a deal. I locked up a deal in La Plata, Maryland. But the house is sitting on 7.7 acres, 3 zoned for residential and the remaining zone for agricultural. Now, my question is, does land matter? Does that matter when I'm wholesaling a deal? Should that be a consideration for the amount of money that I want to wholesale the deal for, or does land not matter?
Land always matters, but it matters more in different price points. Okay, so what is the price point of the deal that you're working on?
The price that I'm selling it for?
No. The price that you are in contract at, or like, what's this? What are we talking? Like, what are you contracting this piece of property at potentially?
Oh, potentially $279,000.
279,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So the land, the extra land, the agricultural land, is going to matter a lot less than it would, say, for instance, you're talking about a deal where you've got $1 million home, and it's got another 7 acres that can be subdivided into 7 lots that can build 7 other $1 million homes on. Right. When you're talking a $279,000 price point, and how many acres are with the property that? Give that to me. Give me that split up again. You've got 3 acres with the house.
3 acres are zoned. 3 acres are zoned for residential. and the remaining are zoned for agricultural.
Okay. The ones that are zoned for residential, is there a home on that?
Yeah, there is a home on that. Yes.
Okay,
And
so is this a house with a farm?
but the land is undeveloped. It's just a house. It's 2,200 square feet. It's a 5-bedroom. 5 bed, 3 bath. Has a 2-car garage detached with a two bedroom apartment above it. But the house for real could be tore down if a builder would want to build on that land.
No, nobody wants to build on that land.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm only saying this
No.
because of density, zoning. You've got such a small parcel here, right?
Right.
That I've been through this process of rezoning and then getting entitlements on land to redevelop.
Right.
Now, it's very costly to do that. And so what builders or developers want when they're going to go through the process of a rezone and then the process of building or getting entitlements, they want density. There has to be a lot of opportunity there in order for them to absorb the costs, because doing a rezone is going to be just as expensive to do a rezone on your small piece as on like 100 acres.
Right.
Because it's going to still be a survey. It's still going to be a planning and commission. It's still going to be a public hearing. It's still going to be water and drainage. It's still going to be all the things. Now it's going to be at a larger scale, but all of those things are still going to need to happen, right? So first and foremost, you have to look at the play. Okay, the play on this house or the play on this piece right now is not, I've got a house with 3 acres and then 3 acres of agriculture. You want to know my thoughts on the play here?
Absolutely.
You've got a house and a farm.
Okay.
You got a house with an attached farm. And right now, especially in today's world where we've got, the people wanting to live on more land and possibly be more self-sufficient and self-sustaining, that would be how I would package the play. I'm not packaging this as, hey guys, future development potential over here. No.
Right.
I'm packaging this as, hey, this is an incredible opportunity for you to live in a self-sustaining property where you can grow your own food, where you could maybe, raise your own cattle or do, whatever it is that you wanted to do in order to survive and live. Like for a buyer at $279,000, that's a fundamental opportunity for an end user. Now, I'm again because I don't want to take up a bunch of time and get into the weeds of this, because I want to make sure that there's value in that house. But let's remove the 3 acres of agricultural land, okay?
Okay.
And let's just look at the house and the land that it is, and you got to value the house with the land that comes with it. Okay. Let's not try to attach a bunch of value. That land, the agricultural land, I'm going to give it at max $20,000 in value. That's it. Okay. Your house with the 3 acres, that's what we're going to be using for comps. And then we're going to tack on an additional $20K for the agricultural land.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Absolutely. 100%.
Cool, bro.
I really appreciate it.
Welcome to the family, man. This is great chatting with you. And I'll hope to see you on our call on Tuesday, and you bring this deal back and we can dive into the weeds together as well.
Love that. Ruben, you're up, brother. What up, Ruben? How you doing?
What's up, Pace? How you doing tonight?
Really good. What do you got for us?
Good. Well, I just want to say thanks. Number one, you really opened my eyes up to a lot of stuff. I listened to your YouTube videos all throughout this whole year. Yeah, we're into the new year coming. And I learned a lot. And I was able to use your guidance to flip a house before I got into your program, your class, or your sub-2 community. And then got in. And then got my 2 business licenses like you had taught me. And now I'm ready to rock and roll. So I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome.
That was the first thing.
How good does it feel to have momentum in the right direction?
It feels really good. I mean, I do several things, and you know, sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge juggling it all. But you know, for
I
the
can
most
relate.
part,
Jamil can relate too.
yeah,
You're welcome to the club, right?
yeah. Trust me, I'm trying to. It's like dollar cost averaging everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good way of
You
looking
know,
at it.
you know, dollars like dollar cost average my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just my approach. And but moving forward, I'm now, you know, getting into batch leads, like you said, and I'm getting privy, and I'm just ready to rock and roll, man. I'm just sick of, you know, I'm just you know, I closed on my house, what, October? Yeah, October 5th, and now was able to take care of a bunch of stuff to catch up the momentum into this new year. So I'm just ready to rock and roll.
Love it.
You
What
know?
can we do for you tonight on Wholesale Hotline?
Well, for me, you know, I am, I'm trying to figure out the contract part of it, which I think I've got it already.
So
But it's like,
so Ruben, you're a student, right, of Sub 2?
correct.
Okay, let me tell you something, because it sounds like you're a brand new student. Is that correct?
I am.
Okay, let me tell you something. 3 days a week, my transaction coordinator goes live only in Sub 2 and shows you how to fill out paperwork. Okay.
3 days a week.
3 days a week.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one will be Wednesday. It's called Pace Studies. And
Okay.
that Zoom is with Molly, my business manager.
Right
and what
on.
she does is every Wednesday, literally every Wednesday, she goes live for 2 hours and she talks about a specific deal, the paperwork.
Sorry, I'm writing at the same time, so you know how it
Okay.
goes.
So Ruben, let me show you something, okay? Watch
Sure.
this. I'm going to show you something magical. Okay.
Sure.
So if I go to, and this is for all brand new Sub 2 students. Okay, anybody watching this, please pay attention to this. This is very important for you because you guys are brand new. That means your MSA, your member success advisor, has not gone through and shown you this just yet. So if you go to our Facebook group, the private Facebook group, and you go into the announcements, into the featured section, just click on featured right here.
Right
and
on.
you will see that today, 3 hours ago, I posted the entire calendar for Sub 2. Okay.
Holy shit. I did not know that.
I do this every single Monday. Okay.
Right on.
And if you click on this, I actually do a video every single Monday as well, where I spend 3 to 7 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. See all these green boxes that are on my screen?
Yeah.
Those
I'm
are
seeing it.
Sub 2 only Zooms.
Right on.
Okay. So we have 23 support Zoom calls every single week. And
Yeah.
it depends on the topic that you're trying to learn. So if you're trying to learn, contracts, we do that 3 times a week. Okay. Also, let me show you one last thing. Okay. I promise you this will help you. You don't want to wait. So I'll show you how to do this properly. Jamil, if your Astro students probably have similar stuff to this as well, right? Your schedule is in the announcement section.
Correct.
Okay. So Ruben, last thing I'll show you, and then we'll jump on to the next question, but
right on.
Here we go. Check this out. So if I go into Facebook again, and I type in, let's say, Sub 2 contracts, you will see, let's see, one of the best ones I ever did. We used to have it pinned for a long time, but I do it all the time here. Let me change it. Let me change up my search results. Base Morby contract. Okay, so check this out. You will see right here, bonus Zoom talking cash deals and contracts. Okay, that one's cool. This one's good. Pitching an agent live today on that. This one right here here's a Loom video I just made for new contracts. We just had our attorney draft. Here's the Dropbox link. I walk through the contracts, walk you through all of it. I probably post one of these every couple of weeks showing you live walkthroughs with sellers and myself. Okay. What does that mean? It means that in here, you'll see multiple, and you'll ask other students, by the way, ask other students. Every time I walk a seller through a contract, every time my transaction coordinator walks a seller through a contract, every time my business manager walks a seller through a contract, we record it on Zoom where you can watch my team, myself, walk the seller through the contract line by line. You can hear what we say, how we say it, how we fill out the paperwork. You can hear the objections the seller throws at us. Literally 300 hours of those things, all organized and laid out for you, not just in the Facebook group, but in sub2course.com. So if you go to sub2course.com, which you obviously paid to have access to, and you go into the contract section, we have Tanisha Epps who actually puts all that stuff together. I think 2 weeks ago, I had an agent come through and I walked the agent through a sub2 contract on a live Zoom with my team. So remember PACE studies on Wednesdays? On Wednesdays, my agents that I'm doing deals with that are selling and representing sellers, the sellers that I'm talking to directly, they come into my Zoom studies with the sub2 community and ask live questions about live deals that I'm in the process of getting under contract. There is literally no better place on planet Earth to learn how to do paperwork than in those Zooms. And as you can tell, I will never post anything on my YouTube channel about contracts, how to fill out contracts, how to talk through contracts with sellers, agents, or anything like that is specifically tied only for sub2 students. Sound good? He's all muted, but good to see you, Ruben. Hopefully I can see you on another Zoom. Efren, what's up, bro? You looking all festive and whatnot. What do you got for us tonight?
Hey, how are you, Pace and Jamil? Much love,
What's
guys.
up, bro?
Hi. Yeah, just first of all, just like he just said, I just want to say thank you guys too. I've been kind of following you guys for a while, both as well as Brent. So it's been awesome to see, your growth and all the value you guys have been providing to us.
We miss Brent today. He unfortunately he's in a bodybuilding competition today. If you guys didn't know, Brent every year Brent enters into a bodybuilding competition.
Cool.
It's called the banana hammock, all natural bodybuilding, wholesaling bodybuilding competition. He's actually the only person who participates in it, and he wins every year. And so this year, no, I made all that up. He's with his family, guys. He's doing family time, which he so greatly deserves.
Awesome. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, let's see. I got one question revolving a potential sub-2 deal. Long story short, I'm a broker and investor. I kind of 50-50 is kind of where my income comes on the realtor side and on the investor flipping side. A couple of wholesales here and there, but not specifically wholesaling. So I have a gentleman who basically sounds like a perfect potential sub-2 deal. He probably owes like 95 grand. ARV is really not above 110.
Okay.
But he has to kind of get out of the deal. He got a job opportunity a couple hours away from that property. So I was kind of just thinking of how I could possibly structure the deal. I don't think it's something I would personally want to own in the area it's in specifically, but just seeing how I could possibly help him out.
This sounds like the easiest deal I've ever heard of. It's like 30% of every sub-2 deal I ever do. Somebody goes, I bought a house I don't have a lot of equity in, but I still want my number. I have a job opportunity, or I'm moving in with my girlfriend, or I need to leave this house for whatever reason. And it will become, if it hasn't already become, complete sub-2 mania this year and next year and the year after. This is a lay down sub-2 deal. So first and foremost, Efren, what you need to do is not be the person that buys the deal. You should be the person that assigns the deal to a buyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
The great thing about creative finance is that creative finance is the fuel that you throw on the fire of real estate. Creative finance amplifies every part of real estate: multifamily, single family, wholesaling, fixing and flipping, buying and holding. All of that stuff is amplified with creative finance. So assigning and wholesaling this deal is amplified with your ability to assign it as a sub-2 deal. So step number one, tell everybody what market it's in.
Oh, that property is in Harvey, Illinois.
Okay, so step number 2, find somebody near Harvey, Illinois that is a landlord that would look to be a buyer of a property like that. I have amazing sub-2 students. Chester Texan in Chicago area knows all the students in all of Illinois. I'll give you Chester's contact information right here in the side chat.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
And you can reach out to Chester and say, Chester, will you help me out with this deal? And JV with them. What I want you doing is I want you working with sub-2 and Astro students, and not just you making money, but you should be inviting them to make money on your deals as well.
100%.
Are you ready to write this number down?
Yeah.
Okay. Chester is one of our most consistent students. He's been with us since very, 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 very beginning. So Chester's phone number is 630-400-7471. And I would suggest don't ever reach out to my students without saying these words first. Hey, Chester, my name is Efren. I want to JV on a deal so we both make money.
Love it. Yep,
That's how you
100%.
open it up. Okay.
Cool.
I want both of us to make money. How can we do that? Please walk me through the process. And Chester will help you find the buyer. Chester will help you out with the paperwork as long as Chester can make money on the transaction.
100%.
Okay.
And
when you say, how do I structure the deal? The only person that can tell you how to structure a deal like that is the buyer. The buyer is going to tell you how to structure the deal, what they want, right?
Makes sense.
So for a $110,000 deal, most buyers of a deal like that say, yeah, I'll give the seller, $10,000 down. I'll pay you $10,000 assignment fee, but I don't want to be more than 20 grand into the total thing after closing costs, and I'll take over blah, blah, blah. And then you go, well, the seller wants all of his $20,000 of equity. Okay, well, that's up to you and Chester to negotiate. The fact that the seller doesn't really have any equity is probably the appropriate negotiation standpoint to say, well, you owe 95, but you say the house is worth 110. If you sold it today on the open market for 110 after realtor commissions, closing costs, inspection fees, home warranties, and all those types of things, you actually don't have any equity. So the fact that we're willing to give you $10,000 is above and beyond generous. So I would start there, but you're going to have to go back and forth. And that's where relying on somebody who has more experience than you and allowing them to make part of the money to walk you through the process is why we do Wholesale Hotline. The whole spirit behind Wholesale Hotline is for you to get plugged into our student base and people who are trained and experienced and consistent in this business.
100%.
So text Chester. Text him right now, in fact. Say, hey, Pace told me I need to JV with you and make money with you. And by the way, Chester should become a friend of yours.
I appreciate it, Pace. And I think you said it was 630-400, right? That was the
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it almost seems like a fake number, but 630-400-7471.
Perfect. Yeah, I got a 630 number too, so we should be good.
Love it.
Awesome. And then
thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Mr. Quijano, it sounds like we figured out how to get you back to the show. Let's get you going in here. Got a lot of really good comments tonight. Yeah, people are saying it's kicking me out of StreamYard. Well, that might be me kicking you out of StreamYard for spamming, you little knuckleheads. Guys, this has been a good fun show. What do you say we answer a couple more questions?
Let's keep it popping.
Okay, we have Isaiah. Isaiah, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Pace, good to see you. Jamil, good to see you. Dan Kahano, good to see you.
What's up, bro?
What do you got for us, Isaiah?
Yeah, hey, I was actually just wondering if you could comp a property for me. It's on market, but I would just kind of want to see, how you guys would run the numbers on it, if possible.
Sure.
Awesome.
Happy to.
All right, let me go ahead and copy and paste the link in here.
If there was a Compers Olympics, Jamil would definitely be the champion.
Yeah, no, he's definitely like the king of that. I don't
I
disagree.
memorized his first little Zillow on the cell phone app video when I was first getting into real estate. That thing was always on my screen on the computer.
Can you see my screen right now, guys?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Looks
so you
good.
can see Pornhub.
Yeah.
Great.
Midget Hub, yeah.
Stickyfeet.com.
What's the address?
314 East 16th Street in Costa Mesa. Yeah, there it is.
Costa Mesa, California. Okay. So let me just enlarge my screen here. We've got a 2-bed, 1-bath, 1,067 square foot property listed for $1.850. So $1,850,000 in Costa Mesa, California. The Zestimate on it is $1,786,000. And I'm going to talk a little bit out loud about the things that I'm going to be looking at to give me some key indicators as to just to give me a good understanding of what's happening here, first and foremost. Okay. This is built in 1936, so it's old AF, sitting on a 9,867 square foot lot. Okay. So it's not a bad size lot. Now, looking at this on this little square here, this lot appears to have a lot of vegetation on it. Okay. So that's not terrible. 47 days on market. Okay, so that's a substantial amount of time, but it's not a crazy amount of time, but it's substantial. Next thing I want to look at is the number of views. 2,166 views tells me that there had quite a few eyeballs on this in the last 47 days, but only 40 people saved it. So initially, my gut feeling is going to say this is overpriced. If 2,100 people looked at this and only 40 people saved it, they thought, wow, this person's out to lunch on their price. So that's the first indicator of thought that I'm going to have. Okay. Next thing I'm going to look at is pricing history. Okay. Now looking at pricing history, I see that this property was listed at $2 million, 11/3/2022, and then they dropped to 1.85, 11/29/2022. Here's a good sign. $150,000 price drop in under a month shows motivation. I love that. Okay. So now I know I possibly have a motivated seller. Next thing I'm going to look at is listing description and what they say. So listing description says, first time on the market in 50 years, calling all visionaries. So they're saying they understand that this is going to need a reimagining. So
I really like that. I like the way they said that instead of it saying like investor special.
Yeah. They say they need imagination. They're looking for pacers.
On this is amazing.
Right.
I think people really need to take note of this, is that before you even start looking at the numbers, you're sitting here constructing an entire story of this human being's like last 45 days of their life.
It's interesting. You have to do it because that'll tell you what's going on inside of them so that you understand if this is worth wasting my time or actually pursuing. Right? Now, beyond that, let's just I'm going to make a quick couple of notes here on the particulars. 1,067 square feet, so it's small. Now we know, no one's going to pay $1,850,000 for 1,000 square feet. This is definitely going to need an addition or some kind of redevelopment here. And then I think it was 1936 build. Is that correct? I'll go back and just double check. 36, yeah.
And then I guess just to add on a couple other things, Jamil, because I've been to the property, I walked it. It is very heavily distressed. If it's not like a full gut rehab, it might actually be a tear down.
Yep.
So it is also R2 zoned as well.
Okay.
So you could have like additional, you could have ADUs on
ADU or duplex. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
So
good stuff. So here we are. Okay. Here's our little subject here. Now we're going to look around. There's our subject right here. See it again. They pull it up. That's it. Okay. So here's our subject. Now, what do we have near it? Going to pull back a little bit. Looking for sales. So we got a 1.7 here from 21. Looks to be, newish construction, completely different from what we're looking at. Also nearly over 1,000 square feet larger.
Double the size. Damn.
Yeah. And look at that. Sold for 1.7. So that's not a good indication that we've got good value yet. Let's look at this 2 million. Ooh, what's this? A $2 million sale for a 3-2-1254 square feet from March, though. This is going to be the rub.
The height of the market before we started having a turn.
Exactly. Height of the market. But this does tell us something. Okay. This tells us that if we did a primary bed bath addition of around 300 or 400 square feet, we could get to a property that kind of looked like this. Would you agree, Pace?
Yeah.
So with that said, now again, this is from March. I'm just going to do some quick adjustments. We know the market has gone down about 10%. So we're going to take down 10% off of this 2,060,000 sale. That's 200K off. Okay, about 200K off of that, 10%. That takes us to 1.8, which is where your list price is, and this is already remodeled. So again, that tells us that your subject is listed at ARV right now. Okay, based off that sale. Let's see if there's any other indicators that we've got. What's this?
What was that $3 million deal? Was that a deal that had closed at some point?
We'll go back to it and take a look. This is particularly interesting though.
What the freak, 21750 for
exactly. What is this about?
Pissed if I had a 750 square foot house for $3 million.
Okay, look at this. Gorgeous, fully remodeled, 2-bed, 1-bath bungalow in Eastside Costa. Guys, look at that. So a 2-bed, 1-bath, 750 square footer sold for 2.8. Now this isn't 21. Guys, we're kind of going back to 2021 prices. So now I'm not going to hold on to this and say that this is our comp, but this does give me somewhere to look at. Like, do we have a possible $3 million house here? So what was that? Pace, you mentioned a 3 million sale. Where's that?
I can't remember. I was busy eating my sandwich.
Okay. What's your sandwich, by the way? Looks good.
My wife got me a number 2 sandwich at Porta Subs. Best sandwich on the
wife.
market, just FYI.
Okay, what do we got here? 2,048 square feet. Now we're in Newport. I don't know if that changes anything here. Possible.
Bordering cities. Eastside Costa Mesa is basically Newport, is kind of like how the locals dub it.
So let's see when this was built, because this could be a full redevelopment here. 2007. Yeah, too new. Can't use it. But that does tell us that we've got the possibility of a redevelopment hitting 3 million. Okay. That's all going to be new stuff here. Okay. And I'm going to just come peep up a little over here. This was just 2.9. Again from 21, but when was this developed? 48. Okay, so here with a approximate 1,000 square foot addition, again from 2021. So this is older, but it tells us that we could creep towards $3 million with a redevelopment over there, right? So here's how I look at this. What I'm seeing right now is you've got this property that is essentially listed at ARV. Okay, I think right now if this house had been remodeled, it would be worth $1.8 million. Okay, I think it's land value. Personally, I think this is a tear down, and I think it's a redevelopment. Now, Hi Monday. Now, what do we know about infill land in this Newport area? Okay, it needs to be approximately 25 to 30% of what the new construction value would be. So we're seeing new construction again. If you want to pull back up new construction. And I'll pull that up for you to show you what a newer construction value would look like. Because we had some here.
I feel like there was that one at like 2.6 or 2.9. Yeah, there's that one, the 2.9.
Yeah, there's a few here. That's way too big.
Yeah, I know.
Hi, Mill.
Hi. Wow, they're building some incredible properties over here. This is and on only on a 5,800 square foot lot. This is redevelopment all day, all day.
Yeah.
So there's an argument that you can get up to about 4 million on new construction on this. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Let's say we've got 4 million as new construction. If you're at 4 million new construction and you need to be at about 30% of that for a builder, your maximum price that you can pay for this thing is about 1.2 million bucks. Okay, so these guys are about $600,000 overpriced.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, Jamil.
As a new development.
It's funny you say that because I did watch the video you did with Jeffrey Buencamino, who's also in OC. He's probably about 30 minutes south from me.
Yep.
And he had the comp he was talking about, even though it's in a different area, the numbers were pretty similar. He was saying the ARV was between 1.9 and 2.1, and he got it under contract for like 1.1 or 1.2. And so that was the first thing that came to my mind when I was trying to crunch those numbers. But the way that you kind of worked backwards, looking at the land value and looking at the maximum potential value of a new home at 4 million and then getting 25-30%, it's kind of funny how it worked out to be around the same number.
It's always going to work out the same. It's really interesting. You can come at this from like every door, but they'll all lead to the same thing. And that the number on this property is 1.2. That's where it needs to be bought at. In order for this to be a deal, $1.2 million would be the number.
So that's what I would need to assign it at
no, that's what you're going to buy it at.
Under contract, get it under contract for 1.2.
Correct.
Then what could I assign it for you?
You could probably get a $50,000 assignment, maybe even a little bit more on that. You might be able to sell that thing for 1.3.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate you showing me the full calculus around that, Jamil. That was super helpful, and I'll be sure to allocate that formula when trying to do it on market. But
absolutely. Hey, Dan, you do deals in SoCal, right?
A little bit, yeah.
What were your thoughts on what I was just doing over there?
Well, it's kind of like, I love the when you said that everything goes back to that, right? Because when we transitioned March, April, when the market started doing its thing, we realized really quickly we had to get 30 to 50% to ARV is where you need to be. I mean, it's just if you want the deal to work. Otherwise, you're going to be getting people under contract, and then you're going to be telling them later that you can't.
Yeah, and then there's nothing fun about that. But looking at the numbers and just kind of seeing that whole thing play out, where would you be on that offer?
That's exactly where I would have landed. Exactly.
It's uncanny. It's uncanny, and I'm sure the way that Dan would have ran his numbers would be different from the way I ran my numbers. He would have been looking at different comps. He'd be looking at different metrics, and we would both come to this is a $1.2 million offer. That's what it is.
Awesome. Well, Jamil, hey, one last question, Jamil, if it's not too much. I remember on a previous live, you had briefly touched about when working with agents, not to sign. I think you were saying not to sign something they ask you to sign. I can't remember exactly what it was.
A buyer broker agreement.
A buyer broker agreement.
Yeah, an exclusive buyer broker agreement is a death sentence because it'll actually force you to work with that agent or pay that agent for any deal you do for the next 6 months. And this is the verbiage and the language that I use to avoid that. So I say, Dan, let's just say Dan is my agent. Dan, I appreciate that you want to make a commitment in working with me for an extended period of time. And I think that's an incredible thing. I do a tremendous amount of business, and it would be unfair for the people that I'm currently working with and the ones that are out there working for me right now to sign an exclusive agreement with you, because you just would not be able to satisfy the number of properties that we're looking at and the number of properties that we're actually working on any given month. So this is what I can do. I can sign a property specific buyer broker agreement to protect you, just so that you understand that I have no intentions of going around you. I'm wanting to have a long-term relationship with you, and I want you to feel confident and comfortable that I'm the kind of person that you can trust. I have high integrity, and I'm going to work with you, and I would never go around you. But I can't do something that's going to be a blanket buyer broker situation because I'm doing too much business for that to happen.
Well said.
You
Awesome.
know what's amazing to me, guys? It's like listening to the first two questions that came up tonight. The way Jamil was talking about how he would phrase that land, the way he would present it to people who were wanting to live off the land. It's amazing to me how everything in this business, I don't care if you're new, I don't care if you've been doing this for a long time, if you're working multifamily, if you're working, direct to seller, it all comes down to, let me just sit down, understand what I want to accomplish, and how is the best, most concise and transparent way that I can convey this message to the person that I'm dealing with. And I think we get stuck. Like there's this magic line or phrase that if I use this line when I call the agent, they're going to send me all their deals. When the reality is they just want to know that they're not going to get screwed over, that you're a professional who's going to do the right thing and that they can work with you long-term. You're not wasting their time. Sometimes it's really that simple.
It is that simple.
You always, and this is something that Pace and I talk about all the time. And Dan, I know you and I we're becoming closer and closer friends, and we're gonna speak more and understand each other at a higher and deeper level. But the thing is, I think that you get it. You get this, Dan, is that we always want to know the question behind the question.
Yep.
There's always a question behind the question. There's an underlying intent. Why are you wanting this? Why do you want the buyer broker agreement? Why? And if I can peel back the layer, if I can peel back what's happening behind the scenes, this is the thing that one of the reasons why Pace and I are as close as we are to each other is because I can always pick out the why behind what's going on. And it's, Dan, you're gifted at this, and Pace, you're very gifted at this. When it comes to more interpersonal relationships, Pace trusts me to kind of understand some of the whys that happen.
100%. I would have had probably 50 more knives in my back if Jamil wasn't standing next to me, understanding why people were trying to do certain things, trying to collaborate with us, but really understanding what was really going on. Jamil's really good at understanding the why of the why.
Yeah.
That's a great question, guys. Thanks for bringing a comp onto this. This was great. Appreciate it.
This was great. Last wholesale hotline of 2022. You got any one of you guys have some final words to say to the audience before we go into 2023?
I got a couple things I'd like to say. I think we can all say a few things. We go a little bit long here, but guys, you've all done an incredible job this year, believing in yourselves and coming in to this time in real estate. The fact that there's 600 plus people that show up here in the holiday time to listen, to learn, to grow, to connect, to gain relationships. It's a testimony to the fact that you believe in yourself. It's a testimony to the fact that you believe in your why and that you care enough to take time out of your evenings to learn, to be a part of this community and to grow. The thing that I want to remind you is that it doesn't end in listening to these conversations. It doesn't end in listening to these podcasts. It doesn't end in just signing up for a mentorship or joining a community. Where this is no end. There is no end. Pace and I were on the phone today talking about what's next. How do we keep going? How do we keep growing? And how do we keep expanding? I spent a week on the beach in Mexico and I was miserable. I was miserable because I thought, is this what people say when I talk to them and I say, what do you want to do with your lives? Well, I want to relax. I want to have a life where I sit back on the beach and I drink Mai Tais and I just take it easy. And as I was doing that, I realized that's hell. That's absolute.
He was literally texting me 4 days ago saying, I can't wait to get home.
This is hell. This is hell. You want to know what I want out of my life? I want to do this. I want to do this every day. This is my vacation. This is my joy. This is my purpose. And I just, for all of you that tuned in, thank you guys, just personally from me. Thank you guys for giving me a purpose. Thank you for giving me the purpose to be able to show up here week after week, call after call, moment after moment, to be able to be a part of your journey in growing your real estate businesses and being a part of that human being that was a support structure for you. Thank you, Pace, for being my best friend, my teacher, my mentor, and helping me so much in growing Astro and helping me and allowing the Astro and the sub 2 communities to be all they are. Dan, thank you for being the incredible leader you are in the community and coming into the golden ticket event that we had together and being just the complete badass you are and allowing yourself and your expertise to be all the things they are. And for Brent, who wasn't able to join us today, thank you, brother, for being a trailblazer and an incredible friend and human being. I love every single one of you guys. And 2022 was and is as special as it was because of each and every one of you guys. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to all of you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Love you, brother. Mr. Quijano, you got any words for the peeps going into 2023?
Yeah, I do. And this one actually comes from the heart, guys. So I've spent a lot of my life being the odd man out, right? People have a hard time putting a finger on me. And I think a part of it comes down to, you come up in a certain way, you got to look out for yourself. But I've always had this thing, I genuinely care about people. Oftentimes for many years at my own expense. And people thought I was weird for it. What was special to me is that when I got into real estate, I found these communities of people who actually thought the same way. They didn't think it was strange to care about other people, even at your own expense. They recognized that that's always ROI positive. Caring about people always pays you back, even if it's just an emotional dividends. And I got into this community. It was like mind blown. And I think that, for a while, you're like, wait, you're waiting for the bottom to fall out. Like you're waiting for the catch, And so for anybody who's newer tonight, you keep hearing people talking about communities, guys, I promise you, it's not a joke. It's not a game. These people will lay down everything to help you become better, literally just because they want to help you become better. So for Pace and Jamil, I can tell you, being a person who's been in these communities for a number of years now, Pace he's the real deal, right? And he's the real deal because he actually lives this, right? It blows my mind. I have spent time like, why is Pace doing this stuff? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But I think a part of it is because he genuinely cares and because he surrounds himself with people that genuinely care. So what's my point? My point is this, guys. We all have had life happen to us. We've all had things that have wanted to hold us down. And my hope for everybody that's here, because this is my goal for myself, is that you just really take advantage of the opportunity that you have in this community that you're surrounded by. And you don't let a second go by and take it for granted. Link arms with these people. Better your life in 2023. Better the lives of the people that you're connected with. I promise you, one of my goals is to not be recognizable, even to myself, 1 year from today. Amen. Because of all of the things that these gentlemen on this screen are pouring into me and all of the things that I'm going to do to help other people. Let's change the world, guys. We can do it from this platform. I promise.
Brother. Amen.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Gentlemen, I here's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I've got a YouTube live just going through my goals and showing people how to set their goals for 2023. And then the first thing I'll be doing in the new year is joining Jamil's challenge and being part of the whole agent outreach. Agent outreach has been a dominating force in the lead generation. And you guys need to build momentum now. The best way to build momentum is stand next to people that are taking action. And I can tell you, it's really interesting as Jamil and I go into other rooms and we elevate the people that are around us, our income also elevates because we are given permission by the people who took the steps before we did, right? We're basically following in other people's footsteps, which is amazing. So whether you like it or not, you guys are on a daily basis following in other people's footsteps. You might be following in your parents' footsteps, siblings' footsteps, people you go to church with footsteps, people you work with footsteps, but I promise you, you are following somebody's footsteps today. The cool thing is you get to choose whose footsteps you follow. So I would get as close as I possibly can to my community members, sub 2 Astro students all over the country, get close to them, go to the meetups, hang out. Quijano, I'm really proud of you this year. Did your first boot camp. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. When are you going to do another one?
As soon as possible.
Okay, cool. I think probably for the next golden ticket event, probably.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey.
Proud of you, Jamil. Super proud of you, man. I love you. Just watching you grow. There was a moment, you've always been a great speaker, but there was a moment at my mastermind last month where I was like, this dude just hit a new level. And your ability to tell story, the sign of a good speaker is when the people in the audience actually change in real life right there. Like you had the ability to inspire people 2 years ago. But as of today, as of the last 30 days, I've watched you have such a powerful way of speaking and telling story that just in the last 30 days, I feel like you have the ability to change people's lives as they're sitting down, which is powerful. And I can't wait to watch you in 2023. 2023, think about that. It's the year of Michael Jordan, guys. We're all going to have the most dominant year we've ever had, ever. So we're all excited. Jamil and I will be traveling all over the country. In fact, Quijano is going to be visiting with us in Vegas at the Tykes event with Ryan Pineda. So look forward to hanging out with you guys there.
And prior to that, there's the thing I wanted, and I didn't have a chance to talk to you about this earlier, Pace, but you know how I believe in making vision boards.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do a joint community vision board day where we stream and all of us together in our own little separate spots. People can come to Phoenix and do it together at our office, but they could also do it from their own home. If they have little satellite groups, and we all get together and create our vision boards for the next 3 years. And if the Sub 2 community and the TTP community would be interested in joining us in a live stream and doing that, look at Pace will be sending out details on that. I'd love for you guys to come out and either join in virtually or come in person, and let's make a fun. Bro, can you imagine how much fun that'll be?
So fun.
Son.
I'm down. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll it.
I love you, bro.
Love you too. Guys, we appreciate all of you. Quijano, thanks for joining us today. We'll have you on more and more on Wholesale Hotline. Thank you so much. Guys, we out. We'll see you. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in 2023.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat